It's the holiday season, but with all the hustle and bustle and shopping and spending time with family and friends, we don't want you to forget one important thing, and that is your safety. Hi, I'm Maureen Russell Hodson, and this is Let's Talk Centerville. Here to get us through the holiday season and beyond, we have our safety experts, Fire Marshal Mike Long and Community Relations Officer John Davis, and thank you both for being here.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, and I know we've talked a lot about safety tips and using common sense, but it seems like for some reason during the holiday season, a lot of times that flies out the window. And we just kind of forget because we're so much caught up in the details and getting things ready for folks. So what we're going to do today is really talk about, again, some common sense things that we should be doing and really reminding people of how to make sure that their home and their personal items and that they themselves are safe. So John, let's start with you because people are out and about shopping.
Yes,
Did
they
you
are.
know that?
In droves, yes.
And so let's talk about when you're going shopping, let's say to a shopping center or a mall. There are some, I know you all know this, I know we know it, but it seems like we're finding out that people aren't locking their cars or aren't taking some basic safety measures.
Well, yes, I mean, it's a recurring message that we put out here. You need to make sure that you're locking your vehicle, make sure that you're not leaving valuables in that vehicle.
Such an easy thing to do, but yet we're finding that people aren't locking their cars, right?
Yes, I mean, 91% of our thefts from vehicles in 2013 were reported unlocked. The other 9% was evenly split between people that said, I thought my car door was locked, but there was no forced entry. And then the other half was they reported something of obvious value left in the vehicle. So in that situation, these people will risk breaking into the vehicle to get that item. The other problem that we just saw last week is leaving garage door openers in unlocked vehicles or even vehicles outside. So many people don't lock the door between their house and their garage, so that once they're in the vehicle, they've basically got a key to your house and they're inside. Thankfully, in the incident that we had last week, they only went into the garage, they didn't venture into the house. But it's a scary thought to think that if you're going to leave that car outside, don't leave a garage door opener in it. It's just too easy. Even beyond going into the house, I mean, there's so many, if you think about your garage and the number of tools and the amount of money that's in there, there's a lot there.
And your refrigerator, that's a quick, easy grab, whatever items you might have in there, right?
That's kind of gone to the wayside, but yes, the kids used to do what they call garage hopping. So if you left your garage door open, they would go in there and see if they could find a bottle of beer or a bottle of wine or something of that nature to take with them. But we need people, these things are 100% preventable if we can just get people to lock their car doors, don't leave those valuables in them. And this time of year it takes on a different meaning because so many people want to use that car to hide gifts and stage their Christmas surprise. And I would tell people, don't leave anything in your vehicle that you're not willing to part with because it is just that easily stolen.
And stores tend to have extended hours during this time of year. So when you are going shopping at night or at any time, you need to park in a well-lit area.
Well, the first advice I would give you is if you can go shopping during the day, that's the best course. If you have to go out at night, which a lot of us work and that's our only option, call a friend, take someone with you, use the buddy system, so to speak, but take someone with you. There's safety in numbers. It's true. It's a cliche, but it's true. Make sure that you're parking in well-lit areas, populated areas. Don't be so focused on getting that close parking space that you park over at that entrance that nobody wants to use, because when you go out, no one's going to be there. You are in charge of your own personal safety. No one is with you 24 hours a day except yourself. So the onus is on you to make sure you pay attention to what's going on around you. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Trust your instincts. If you have to go back into the mall and ask to have someone from loss prevention or security escort you to your car, do that. And that goes for men and women both. If you go outside and it just doesn't look right or feel right, you really need to trust that because your safety is the #1 focus in this situation.
And then I know this is kind of jumping topics a little bit, but the same thing is if you're in your neighborhood and see someone or something doesn't look right when you're around, same thing, right?
Right. If this doesn't feel right, if you look outside and you see that car or that person, and you know your neighborhood better than anyone, even the police that are there every night and every day, we're not going to know something's out of place as much as you would. Sometimes it's pretty obvious, but other times it's subtle. But if your first thought is to call the police, then you should be calling the police. We want to have that phone call. We want to know that something unusual is going on. Don't rationalize it away. Don't say, I don't want to bother the police. That's our job. That's how if you want to make the police department happy, help us catch someone doing something wrong. That keeps us going. And you're never going to be ridiculed or talked down to if it turns out to be nothing. 99% of the calls we get are nothing, but that's the way we want. That way people know that we respond to those. They know that we have active neighbors that take ownership of their community. We need that.
And we want to remind people that Centerville is a safe community, but things happen here like they do anywhere else.
Oh yes, we are not without crime, or we wouldn't have 40+ police officers. I mean, that's just, it goes without saying. We do enjoy a low crime rate, but we want it even lower. That's a quality of life thing. We want people to know that when they come to Centerville, they're going to be safe, and we need them to step up and take ownership of that as well. We can't depend solely on the police department because we can't be everywhere all the time.
Okay. I'm going to move on to you, Mike, just because most Christmas trees are up now. They're all lit. They may have been up for a week or so plus, and a lot of us like live trees. We like to decorate with lights. Sometimes things can happen with that.
They do, and this is the time to buy your live tree. If you'd have bought it earlier, you know, when you grab your tree, if you shake it and
all the needles
start to fall, then you know that you've got a bad tree. Move on, get the next one. When you get one home, cut about 2 inches off the bottom of it so it's got fresh. You can get the water into the system. Put water into your base right off the bat, and keep it away from any combustibles. Don't light candles around it. Dry Christmas trees you would be surprised how fast they do catch on fire. So if there's an electrical short or something along that line
you should
with the
probably
lighting.
test your lights, because I
Always
think
test your
people
lights.
keep lights for years and years, and they really shouldn't be heirlooms that you're putting on your trees.
And look at your lights, make sure they're indoor lighting, they're UL listed. If one's bad, the cost of the lights have come down so much. If they're out, get a new strand. I just bought 4 new ones for my tree this year, so you know, the price of them have gone down. Be on the safe side. Don't daisy chain all your lights together.
But they have those little...
Those are fine.
Okay.
It's just when you start doing your 12 or your 6 plug surge protectors, don't plug a surge protector into another surge protector into another surge protector to light up the... It's not just a Christmas tree, it's a Christmas village, it's a wreath, it's the candles in the window, and so on and so forth. So, you know, there's a lot of electronics being run right now at Christmas time. So you just want to be safe, make sure everything's plugged in, turn your lights off when you go to bed, you don't want them on. And
off when you leave the house, right? You should not leave your house.
Right, and turn everything off and leave your house. Now, it goes back to you know, if you turn your lights on religiously when you come home, and when you know, it's something to think about on your end. Yeah. They kind of know when you're home, when the lights are on and when they're off. So.
Yeah, you don't want to be predictable, and that's something to pay attention to. Yeah. One of the things, a well-lit area can reduce up to 50% of crime. So make sure you're turning on those outside lights and leaving those on any time of the year, but especially this time of the year, because the criminals don't like to be seen. So try not to be predictable, change up the lights. Even if you're going to turn your Christmas lights off, change up the lights inside the house. Do something different so that it doesn't look the same all the time. They can't pick up on that pattern.
Okay, kind of like the little boy in Home Alone who had the lights going and all the activity happening.
Yes.
It just he did a smart thing, because it did look like something was going on in the house, even though he was in fact home alone. I always have to make reference to that movie at Christmas time.
It was Christmas time.
Well, okay, so it's cold and people are using space heaters or bringing heaters into different rooms, and that's a dangerous situation also.
Without a doubt, you have space heaters in your house. You want to make sure they're ULFM approved. If they tip over, you want to make sure they turn off. You want to keep them at least 36 inches away from anything that's combustible, away from your sheets, your drapes, that kind of thing. If you don't have heat, get your heat fixed. These space heaters are designed. They're not designed to heat your whole house. They're designed to just, heat a small area just to keep you warm, and then turn it off. Don't plug it into an extension cord. It needs to go directly into the wall. There's a lot of draw on these space heaters. They get really hot. So you don't want to plug those into an extension cord and then into an outlet. Find a surge or a CFI if you can, ground fault outlet if you can. If you can't, just plug it into the wall. Just make sure everything works okay. If it tips over, make sure it goes off.
And if you've had something for several years, obviously technology has changed so much.
It
It's
is.
probably time to go out and buy a new space
Get
heater
something.
if you need something.
If it doesn't turn off when you tip it over, buy a new one. That is a danger waiting to happen, because your cat, dog, children can hit it, knock it over, and then move on, and the next thing you know, it's burning the carpet, and then we have a fire from there. So, yeah, and they're all coming down in price too. So again, make sure it's listed for its use, and then follow the directions on the box. That's what I tell everybody, whether it be smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, whatever the case may be, follow the manufacturer's instructions in how to use it.
Yeah, make sure when it comes with that paper, that means that you need to
That's-
take some
you're supposed
time
to read
read
that.
it.
That's why they're in the box. Yes.
Don't always go with,
Right, just-
I think I know how this
I know how to
operates.
do that. We'll just throw it out. So
Yeah.
make sure you read the directions.
Okay. And John, going back to when we talk about thefts, it can also happen in that this time of year, a lot of organizations are calling, asking for money. A lot of people may be out on the street asking for money, and you really have to be careful and cautious about the organization that you might be donating to.
Yeah, unfortunately, there are groups out there that are taking advantage of people's generosity. The thing I could tell you is make sure that you're doing your own vetting of these groups to make sure that where the money's going. A great resource for that is the Better Business Bureau. They do track those. But if you're not sure, call someone, look it up. Go do your own homework before you give your hard-earned money away, because there's not very many of us out there that have money to throw away, and it's great that people are willing to give to these charities, but they want it to go to that charity, not someone's
And you
pocket.
can't feel pressure on the phone, especially to donate.
Absolutely
You simply hang
not.
up.
If you did not initiate that phone call or that conversation, and you don't know who you're talking to, you shouldn't give them any information. Get enough information to do your own homework if you feel like it's something that you want to do, but go back and do that and look back to make sure. Don't be pressured into it. If they don't take no for an answer, then that's probably not something that you want to deal with. And quite honestly, it's something I do, is I will give them one no, and after that I hang up on them.
Yeah.
Because you're not being rude there.
Right.
They are being
Right.
rude.
Yes.
They're not taking your answer, and you need to make sure, because so often, especially in elderly scams, we're seeing where the longer that person's on that phone, the greater likelihood they're going to give money or do what they're asking them to do. Because eventually you will either be lulled into giving information that you shouldn't have, or you'll just give them money to get them off the phone. So just politely tell them no, and at that point you owe them nothing. There's no problem hanging up. We've kind of become a little too polite as a society.
Well, and I think that when you're maybe an older person, I think sometimes these scammers can get just enough information, like your grandson was in a car accident, or grandpa, I need you to send me money. And this is something that I know actually happened to my in-laws. They got a call like that. When you get a call like that, I guess get off the phone as quickly as you can, call the family. Should you call the police, or when should you call the police?
Well, verify the facts that are given.
Yeah.
Most likely we're probably not going to be able to trace that phone call. But the number one thing is recognizing it for what it is and not giving them any information or giving them any money. But if you're worried about that, have a code word or a password that
That's
the
a great
kids could
idea.
give.
Yeah.
Or ask them questions that only the grandson or granddaughter or family member would know. I know personally that Captain Casey with the police department, his mother received one of these phone calls one day. We were together and he's telling her, don't do this, no, no, no. My mother-in-law received one about 2 weeks ago. And they're trying to tell her that, Grandma, I'm in Mexico, I'm stuck, and her oldest grandchild is 12. So I don't think that grandchild was in Mexico. There's
Get off
things
the
like
phone
that.
quickly.
Get off the
Something
phone
like that,
quickly, and then do everything you can to verify. And if you can't verify something that they told you, by all means, don't go off giving information or giving money.
Yeah, and that's something, I know you're right. I think people want to be kind, and you don't need to be. When someone is unfamiliar to you on the phone, you can move on.
Well, they prey upon grandparents and the good nature of, they want to help their families. And so often, unfortunately, in today's society, a lot of them feel left behind. And they all of a sudden, they get this phone call from one of their grandchildren, I need you, and they're doing everything they can to get there. And that's the way you should be, but people are taking advantage of that.
That makes me sad on during the holiday
Yeah.
season. So call your grandparents. That's a
That's
that's a
right.
good
Yes.
message from this. Okay, now I'm going to change gears a little bit to weather conditions. We had a heck of a winter last year.
We did.
It just went on and on and on. Some people are predicting that we're going to have something similar again. So if you are out and about and you're driving, probably by now you should have kind of a toolkit or something in your car, right? So that you're going to
Yes.
be able to be safe if conditions change. What are
Yes.
some items that would be helpful to have?
A small shovel. Make sure that you keep your gas tank at least half full in case
Which
you
is
do
now's a
get
great
stuck.
time because
Yes.
gas prices are
Really
so
down.
reasonable.
That way, if you do get stuck somewhere, you're able to
Yeah.
start the car, heat it up, shut it off. But that shovel is there so you can keep the tailpipe clear of snow that might continue to come down. If you're able to put a small bag of rock salt or something in the car, that might be able to help you get traction if you're stuck. Blankets. Make sure you have
Blankets and clothing.
make sure that you have a car charger for your cell phone, because after you're there for a while, especially in cold weather, batteries don't fare as well.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you're able to call for help. Like Mike said, make sure you have gloves, a hat, things of that nature, a coat. Don't just run out of the house thinking you're just going to Kroger's and all of a sudden you're stuck in a ditch somewhere and you have a sweatshirt on. So you just got to plan ahead and make sure that you're ready for that in case it would happen, because no one ever plans on having an accident. That's why they call them accidents.
Yeah. Any time of year, people don't plan for it, but
right.
especially when road conditions get kind of nasty, I would
Right.
imagine that our accidents rate increases at that time.
It depends on how much snow you get. If it's really bad and the news has warned everyone, we tend to have less accidents. It's that marginal ice or snow event that usually gets us the worst, because everybody thinks that it's okay and they try to drive like they normally would.
And you really should not be calling 911 to find out what road conditions are.
No, that is not a good use of 911. We need the 911 for the people that are stuck and are in a crash or things like that. There are websites out there. You can go onto ODOT. They can give you road conditions. They can tell you travel times to specific areas. But please don't use 911 for that.
Now, let's say you're at home and your heat's out and you decide to bring out the generator.
Well, generator needs to be outside, needs to be vented, so you can't bring it inside. Use what you need to use. Don't try to run the whole house with a generator. Just get the pertinent things moving, the refrigerator, the stove, the things that you're going to need. The heat, it depends on whether you have gas or you have electric, but your generator is only as good as what you plug into it. So you're trying not to run everything. You don't want to run an extension cord to your neighbor's house, even though that was done during
But
the
people
windstorm.
do like to do that
Well,
when
when
you're
you're down for
talking
4 or 5
about
days,
it.
that's one thing.
Right.
But, most of the
Yeah.
problems that we have are going to be
Short-term
short
time,
term. So,
yeah.
but the biggest thing with generator use is keep it in a well vented area, keep it outside, and then run your cords inside. So, generators, you got to have them, and almost everybody has them now. We did learn something back in
I
the
was going to say,
windstorm.
it seems like people
Their
do.
generators are everywhere now. Even the built-in ones, the homes are being built with generators installed.
Oh, really?
So they're
Oh, there's a
didn't
whole
realize that.
industry in
without a doubt. So, really, and if you're going to use a wood-burning fireplace, a lot of people will do that if they lose power, so you can be around your fireplace. Just remember, have your chimney inspected once a year. Make sure the flue's open so the smoke can
That's
go out.
such a big tip. Make
It
sure
is.
your
Make
flue
sure
is
your
open.
flue's open.
A lot of people don't.
When you clean
First
your
time.
fireplace out, you throw it in a bucket, or a bag. Make sure that you take it outside and put it in snow. Don't put it just don't open the back door and put it on your deck. You'll wind up having a fire. It takes 24 to 36 hours for those coals to cool off. Most people will just clean out their fireplace, put in the ashes, and take them outside and set them, and the next thing you know, we've got an outside fire. So, chimney fires, we've had 3 already just this week.
Really?
So, chimney fires are very scary. They get up inside the flue, depending on how your chimney is built. So, have it inspected annually. It doesn't cost that much to have it done. But that's another thing they'll do when they lose power. Plus, people burn wood all year round, or at least all winter long.
Yeah.
The little logs that you can buy at the store, those burn really hot, and they also leave a lot of creosote behind. and creosote is what builds up inside your flue and will catch your chimney on fire. So if you use a lot of those, you want to have it cleaned out, maybe even a little bit more of them once a year. So.
And you should also never use your stove to keep you warm,
Yeah,
right?
it's not a warming material. It's used to cook on. So again, that's going to be powered. If you lose power, it's going to be powered by your generator, depending on whether it's electric or gas. You still have gas. So, yep, it's all that common sense. It kind of goes along with what you were saying. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. So it's all common sense.
I think probably the thing I would add to that as well is if you're going to use some type of supplemental heating source, make sure you have your carbon monoxide detectors working, especially generators. You know, we've seen those tragedies. Make sure those work.
Be electric or gas. You know, you still have a car. You park your car in a garage. It lets out carbon monoxide too. So whether you think you have all electric appliances, you still need a CO monitor for your home. So same thing with smoke detectors. You know, I'm sure you're going to get to that.
Well, no,
you want to talk about it now.
Well, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Great segue.
You know,
Go ahead, Mike.
I'm sure you're going to talk about it now, so let me go ahead and do
Smoke
that.
detectors, you know, they are required. You want one in every bedroom, one outside the bedroom, one in every floor. They're either photoelectric ionization or dual. You know, obviously photo ionization's been around a long time. Photoelectric's a little newer technology. You know, have them both. Photoelectric is the best to have in the bedrooms. If you're going to have an ionization, have it closer to the kitchen. Ionization, they're both there. You want them. You don't just want one in the house. That's why we don't give them out anymore. We used to give out detectors, but we don't know where they put them.
Okay.
So again, if you're going to have a detector, you have to have one in every bedroom, one outside the bedroom, and one on every floor.
And you have to have operating batteries.
Operating
right?
batteries, we talk about that. And in today's construction, they're all interconnected. So if one goes off, they'll all go off. So, and again, you test those, make sure the batteries work. If they chirp, change them. We can come out and do a home inspection if you'd like. We can check your smoke detectors for you. They have a 10-year life. If your smoke detector is over 10 years old, it needs to be replaced.
Okay, that's a good point.
So that is probably the biggest one out there is people have smoke detectors in their house and they've had them for years. They change their battery, but after 10 years, you really need to change the detector out. Cost has really come down on detectors. So
Could someone just call the fire department?
call us. Probably
433
433-3083 is fire headquarters. That's correct. And
Go out and
non-emergency.
take an inspection for someone.
Yep, and we have no problem doing home inspection. You need a home inspection, call us. We'll come out and walk you through not only home inspection, but home drills, fire safety drills, know how to get out of your house, have a safety spot. So if there is a problem inside the house, when we get there, we know where everybody's at. So be it a tree at the front yard. So when we pull up, we say, is everybody out of the house?
Okay.
So that's all part of fire safety this time of year. So.
And then too, going back to, let's say you are out of power and people really should prepare for at least 3 days, right? They should have 3 days worth of water and
Yes.
a safety kit, things like that.
You know, it's things that people don't think about. Not running your medication down to the last day. Making sure that you have food on hand that you can prepare or at least consume without cooking. Those things. The police department, the fire department, we have plans in place, we have supplies in place to offer seamless service, but there's no way that we can provide all those supplies to the entire city of Centerville or Washington
Goes back to
Township.
being self-reliant,
So you
right?
have to, again, the onus is upon the individual to make sure they have those things that they need. But the medications for yourself plus your pets, make sure that you have food for your pets, make sure that you have plenty of water. Drinking water tends to be a big problem sometimes. Make sure you have that in place so that you're ready to go. We're going to be there to help, but we're not going to be able to provide those things in mass quantities.
And check on your neighbors, right? I mean, that's something always, but especially if we have some wintry conditions like we had last year where people just couldn't get out because of ice and snow.
We know that message can hold across everything that we've talked about today. Look out for your neighbors. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Make sure that you know who your neighbor is. I go to a lot of these meetings and I'll have people that have lived next door to each other for 3 or 4 years and they don't know each other other than to know, hey, that's Mr. Smith. Make sure you're taking care of each other. Somewhere, we used to be really good at it, and then somewhere along the way, we started becoming kind of dependent upon everyone else, and we really didn't look to take care of each other. And we need to kind of fall back and get back to that.
And again, if something looks unusual, if something looks out of place, call.
Yes, yes.
Because
Don't hesitate.
Yeah.
Don't rationalize. Don't worry that you're going to inconvenience someone or make someone upset. We need those phone calls. We need to know what's going on. And it could come from to the fire department or the police department.
The same thing can go with us. If you have a smoke detector go off, you don't know what's going on, it could be a fire inside the wall. There's a reason why they go off. So if you don't hesitate to call us, that's what we're there for.
And let's just walk through real quickly. When you call 911 and you're a Centerville resident, you're calling 911, you're going to get the Centerville Police Department.
Yes, you're going to come into our dispatch center.
And then the dispatcher will quickly ascertain information, and then if
when a 911 call comes in, the first question you're asked is this a police, fire, or medical emergency? And if it's not police, they're going hold the line and they're hitting a button and it's going directly to Washington Township Fire Department.
Right.
But you're going to get, if you call 911, a police officer is going to come in probably in a truck, a fire truck, and maybe you bring the whole.
I would tell you in almost 99% of the cases, you're going to get a Centerville police car, you're going to get an engine and a medic, depending on what they've reported, sometimes a lot more than that, because they need to bring what they might need.
Yeah.
They don't know till they get there. They don't know till they get there.
And you never know.
And that's the critical part. That's our part as I'll take a poke at firemen. We don't sleep, so at night we're already out there, and our cars are a little faster than fire trucks. So we tend to get on the scene a little faster, and we can help them. We can kind of help measure up what's going on, so that they can adjust. If they don't have enough coming, they can. Or sometimes we'll say there's nothing, and they might stage equipment, so you're not rolling out millions of dollars worth of equipment for a faulty smoke detector.
And they're trained. They have ADs. They're CPR qualified. So anything that they come across, they can start. And it's all that early assessment, getting there first. And them and Montgomery County Sheriff, both of them are both trained the same, and
you work together.
Very, very nice.
Because I know people say, I don't want all that equipment coming. I don't want my neighbors to know what's going on. But it's exactly that, because you don't know what might be needed.
Yes.
So that's a good point.
You have to come prepared for the worst and hope for the best.
Yeah. And I know, John, you have a lot of good slogans that we've talked about, but really they're easy to remember, but they're so smart. Like, lock it, don't leave it. I mean, that's a good thing we want people to leave with today.
I would love for that to take on the same message of, say stop, drop, and roll. None of us have ever been on fire, but we all know what to do if we are. We know to stop, drop, and roll. I would love for that to be ingrained in someone's memory, to lock it, don't leave it. See something, say something. These are we try to make them short and sweet with a good message.
Well, I'm sure because you hear from people, I thought it was strange, but it was 2 o'clock in the morning. I didn't want to.
Didn't want to bother.
Yeah, so then they wait too late.
That's what we're here for.
Yes.
And what is your last message for us who are Christmas shop or home with our tree and our lights?
Just
and all
be
that.
safe. Again, it's like what he was saying. If you just be safe. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Keep your tree watered. Just turn your trees off or turn your lights off when you leave. Just be safe. That's really all I can ask for.
Don't walk away from the oven or stove, something cooking, right?
Yeah, that's
number
a whole
one,
other topic.
We don't have time for that today.
That's a whole other topic.
But again, we keep saying it's common sense. It is common sense, but I'm sure if you talked, as you both said, you've talked to many residents who just weren't thinking at that time, and so unfortunately, maybe something bad will happen.
Or we get the statement, I thought it would be okay this time.
Oh, right. Got it.
Because you never know when it's your turn, because it's always going to happen to someone else.
That's right.
This time
don't allow you to be the next one.
Well, thanks for all the good tips. We want everyone to have a safe and happy holiday. We'll see you next time.